Welcome this week in Geek. My name is Ren, and I'm, of course, as always, joined by my co-host Zach Pope. How are you doing today, Zach?
Dude, I'm doing great. It's excited. Both you and me are gonna put our things in this.
I mean,
when I say things,
I'm not.
mean
I don't have access to those. So unless I do it virtually, unless you do it to the side, and I do exactly, and I just come over here like that.
For audio listeners, we have
put it to the right. Put it to the right of your screen. There you go. And right there. Oh yeah, there we go. I have it in there.
Yeah. Look at that.
Very, very good. Very good popcorn.
Yeah. Coming out of the
The show doesn't usually start like this for those of you who are new. And if you are new, thank you so much for finding us, whether you're finding us live on YouTube, on the replay, or on one of your favorite streaming podcast platforms, whether you're going on the jog, you're going to the gym, we are accompanying you on your commute. Thank you so much for finding This Week in Geek. And in case you are new to the show has 3 segments. First and foremost, we go through our weekly ranking. That's when me, Zach, we go through everything we watched this past week, rank it from the worst to the best, and then highlight some of your weekly rankings on the live chat. The main segment of the show, the second segment, is the one you see on the title, the one you see on the thumbnail. We are going to be talking Dune spoilers, and there is so much to talk about in this film. And then last but not least, in something I'm sure we'll have even more Dune questions, maybe Dune Part 2, maybe Dune Messiah, is the live questions and answers portion of the show. That's when you go to the community tab on my channel. You'll see an image of the thumbnail for this video, and that's where you leave your questions, and we'll do our best to get to as many as we can. There's never a guarantee we can get through all of them, but if you want to guarantee we get to your questions, you can always support us using the super chat or the tip link in the description. All right, without any further ado, I'm going to get us started on the weekly ranking because I watched 2 things this week apart from TV shows. But I don't usually rank that because they're not necessarily always the newest TV shows, not necessarily keeping up with everything that's going on. I have seen a lot more Shogun that a lot of you guys have. So if you're watching Shogun on Disney Plus, on FX, on Hulu, wherever you got it, I have a review coming because I have access to all the episodes. I just haven't made my way through the show. But I only watched 2 things this week, and I really like both of them. One of them significantly more than the other. So in second place, I'm going to have Demon Slayer to the Hashira Training movie. And like I said, I really enjoy this because I'm a big fan of Demon Slayer. The action is fantastic. I love the characters. Ufotable is bar none the best television animation studio working today in the entire fucking world. And I will argue that with whoever wants to defy that opinion. But as a movie, as it was presented, I saw it on IMAX. It looks fucking glorious. It sounds fucking glorious. Not as glorious as the thing I'm about to talk next, but it's tricky to talk about it in the framing and consider it a movie because as a movie, all this is the final episode of season 3, which is my personal favorite season of the show. So great. And the premiere of season 4. So it's literally the transition between the thing I saw about a year ago and the thing I'm about to see on television. I don't know when it's coming out, but I'm guessing it's near. I'm guessing it's like a month away, tops, maybe 2. So it's tricky as a movie, but this is a show I love. If you're a fan of Demon Slayer, if you're caught up, if you don't mind spending half of a movie watching something you've already seen, whether you love it or not, because I do love season 3. Season 3 finale is fan-fucking-tastic. Again, the best season of the show. And then something you're about to see on TV anyway a couple of weeks from now. It's tricky as a movie, but as it is, judging it as a part of the story of Demon Slayer, it's great. I think it's really... Yes.
So a lot of my coworkers went to this thinking it was like a movie, like legitimately a movie,
and they set the precedent. Yeah. Because the first thing the first thing they released as a movie was the Infinity Train. That was a movie.
Yeah.
And after that, I thought they were setting that as a precedent. Well, in between seasons, we're going to launch movies, and they're going to be like movies. Yeah. I don't get why they're doing this, because it's the second time. Because I believe they did it between seasons 2 and season 3 as well, where it was just a finale and just a premiere. Because I think
Mugen Train was the first few. I still haven't watched season 2, so you can correct me if I'm wrong. But Mugen Train was the first few episodes, right? Or no?
So Mugen Train, they made about like they made the movie and then they just did it again, but in like 6 episodes. So if you skip the first 6 episodes of the supposed season 2, you'll get the actual season 2, which is my least favorite of the show, but it's still good. It's just like if you go through the first season and then the second season is just the least interesting.
Yeah, because that's why I was gonna ask, like, is this a movie? Because like I just looked up like season 4 just to be curious, and there isn't really a release date. It just says spring, but everything it says
spring 2024.
Yeah.
Then it's April, so it's next month.
Okay, but it'll say like a special event in theaters.
Yeah,
not a movie like Mugen Train was.
Mm-hmm.
This is a movie. Yeah. So I'm just curious, like how they marketed it and what you thought.
They made this thing where it's all around the world. It's going to the US. It's going to London. It's going to Australia. It's going to Japan. Of course, it's going to Japan. All these countries around the world. This massive event to prepare for season 4. Fine, just don't go into it expecting to be a movie. Also, if you've never seen Demon Slayer, definitely do not go see this because will just go completely over your head because you're basically entering a show, not a movie, at the moment season 3 of the show ends. And then you're watching what's coming in season 4. So yeah. All right. And on top of that, to no one's surprise, went to see it again for the second time, Dune Part 2. I don't want to waste too much time on this because we're going to spend a bunch of our time talking about it. But you know the expression, Zach, on the internet where he is him or she is her, like stuff like that. This is it. This is the fucking movie. And I said to myself when it was delayed, when it was supposed to come out in November and then it was delayed to March, I was like, they just ruined their chances. I don't see any conceivable way where this doesn't win a record amount of Oscars, including Best Picture. Like, it's ridiculous if it doesn't happen. And I hope
you're talking about
Warner Brothers...
Right?
Exactly. To be clear, we're not talking about worms. We're talking about webs. Okay. But yeah, it's all the things I said it was in my original review. I would even go slightly higher for it. And yeah, we're gonna have fun talking about it. Zach, what do you got?
So I actually did watch more than I thought. So, but at the bottom, Spaceman. Very disappointing in this movie. It has Paul Dano as a giant spider and Adam Sandler as a depressed astronaut. And I thought this would be like my cup of tea. And there's a lot of things in here I liked. It's just boring. Mm-hmm. It's just very boring. And not saying that in the like, oh, it's because it's slow. No, I felt no emotion towards anything. Like I sat there for the first hour, like genuinely considering like, I am so bored right now. I don't know if I should do something else. I still gave it 3.
I told you.
Because there was like still things I liked to it, but like I just didn't feel anything. And I don't know what it was. It's a beautiful looking movie. I will give a big praise to that. I think the cinematography is great. And I think Paul Dano and Adam Sandler do a great job. It's just the overall story itself. It just kept me at arm's length and not in a great way. After that, I finally watched Anatomy of a Fall. Ooh. It's a good movie. I wasn't blown away by it. I think it's too long, personally.
I told you. Yes.
Yeah. It's way too long.
Someone agrees.
It goes on too long. She fucking did it.
100%. 100%.
It's like, who the fuck's falling out of that? I'm sorry. Like, who the fuck's falling out of that? Like, that's just my opinion.
That's fair.
You have to try to fall out of that thing.
Yeah.
So
and to be fair, even for her to throw him, it's very complicated for him to fit through that window.
I liked it overall. I think Sandra Hüller is incredible in the movie. But it's one of those movies that I'll never watch it again. Like very well made, very well done, but I've seen it all before. I'm actually really surprised by like why it's getting so much Oscar.
Same. Like I feel exactly the same.
Like, and again, I went 4 out of 5. I still like this movie. Like, I was like, this is
more than me
movie. But I think Spider-Verse should have been nominated still. I did a whole
Oh, yeah.
video this week talking about what I would have nominated instead, and I said that. So, yeah, that's just my opinion. Up next after that is Kung Fu Panda 3. I see the new one upcoming this week. So
Nice.
I'd actually never seen Kung Fu Panda 3. I'd only seen 1 and 2. And I don't know why I never watched this. Maybe it's because for people who don't know, the
Oh,
second
you had
one is
never
my
seen
favorite.
3?
Because 2 is my favorite
Oh.
DreamWorks movie. I
Mhm.
fucking
Oh,
love
wow.
2 so much.
2 is
And
amazing. 2 is the best one.
3's fun. 3's fun. I liked it. It's
I
not
think
as
it's on par
great
with
as the
2.
original. But really? Oh, okay. I think it's a
I
little
think they're,
underrated.
like, equaled.
Yeah. Some of the pacing in the beginning kind of caught me off guard, but I love the whole Panda family. I love the voice
Mhm.
acting they brought in here. What is it? Brian Cranston
J.K.
as
Simmons
his
and Bryan
dad and
Cranston,
J.K.
yeah.
Simmons. Yeah. So great stuff there. A lot of fun. But after that, I don't know which one I'm gonna put at my number 1 and my number 2. So I'm just gonna say at my number 2 is Tenet. I saw it in
Oh,
70 millimeter IMAX,
yeah,
and it
lucky
was like a
bastard.
whole other experience. But my number 1's Dune Part 2. This is like generally one of the best films ever made. Like this is like a once in a lifetime kind of theatrical
Mhm.
experience you go and see. That's why I'm actually really mad at myself. I bought tickets to go see it next Sunday in 70 millimeter IMAX, not this Sunday, because
I
I'm
have
an
my
idiot.
tickets for
And
this Sunday.
and then I notice, oh fuck me, it's the Oscars next Sunday. So now I'm gonna have to. I literally went and bought different tickets for
That's
this
right.
following Sunday after that. So I'm not gonna see this
Holy
movie for
shit.
2 Sundays. I am so mad at myself.
You can't
And
go on Saturday? You can't go today?
I just want to see it in IMAX 70
Oh,
millimeter.
so
They're all
okay,
sold
and they're
out.
not playing
Like
it today?
they're
Oh, okay. Fair,
yeah,
fair.
like I could go see it in a normal theater,
Mhm.
but it just
Yeah, 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 no, but I
it
get
wouldn't
what
be
you're
the
saying, yeah.
same. Like I
So
have
I
to
saw it
see
in
it
my
again in
press
IMAX.
screening in IMAX, and I saw it
Okay.
yesterday in Dolby.
Which one do
I
you like
wanna go
more?
for so whenever people just ask me which one do I like more in general, Dolby or IMAX, I go for Dolby because the image is about
Okay.
the same, but the sound in Dolby
The
is
sound.
another fucking level.
So
But I
they
want to
just
experience
redid.
IMAX again for Dune. For Dune
Okay.
Part
They
2, that
just
is.
redid the IMAX theater out here for 70 millimeter with the sound. So
Mhm.
it's on par with
Oh,
Dolby now. I used
nice.
to say the same
Okay.
thing. Because I don't like, first off, the IMAX theater it's out is in like a really bad area. It's like a really bad
Oh,
area.
okay.
Like I could every time I go there, I probably risk my life. Like it's really ghetto. But it's the biggest. It's bigger than the Universal City Walk IMAX theater. It's huge.
Oh.
It's one of the only 12 places in the world I can play 70 millimeter IMAX. So like I'll risk my life. I don't give a fuck. Like so, but Dune's awesome. It's fantastic. We're gonna talk about it a little bit more in a second. So feel free to take us in, man. After you share everyone else's weekly rankings.
All right, let's go into your weekly rankings then, and we start off with Luis Feliciano, number 5, Magic Mike XXL, number 4, Magic Mike, number 3, Magic Mike The Last Dance. I gotta tell you, you got this Magic Mike ranking completely flipped the upside down for me. XXL is the
I
best one by far,
I actually agree with
by
him.
far.
I actually agree with him with this exact ranking.
You think Last Dance is the best one?
I don't think it's the best made, but I think it's the most entertaining out of all of them. So that's why I would go number
Oh,
1 with it.
wow.
I
That's the
really
one
like
Magic
Last
Mike
Dance.
movie I would consider bad. To be
I
honest.
see. Nah, XXL I thought was bad. So
XXL as the gas station Backstreet Boys scene, that is a 5 out of 5 movie right there. If Dune had a scene like that, it would have been even better. And you know I'm not joking.
no.
Number 2, Curb Your Enthusiasm season 1, and number 1, The People versus Larry Flint. I have heard of this, but I've never seen it, so I can't comment. I can only comment on the Magic Mike ones. Chico EP, number 4, The Zone of Interest. Number 3, Dune Part 1. Number 2, Shogun Episodes 1 and 2. Number 1, Dune Part 2. And Eric Thorpe, is this the last one? This is the last one. Hey folks, weekly ranking from Eric Thorpe. Number 1, Dune Part 2. Number 2, Dune Part 1. Number 3, Anatomy of a Fall. Number 4, Severance. Below Anatomy of a Fall. I love you, Eric. You are insane, but I love you. Number 5, Spider-Man 94. I also beneath Severance. That's the greatest Spider-Man series of all time. Number 6, Avatar. Netflix's Avatar: The Last Airbender, which I personally would also put above Anatomy of a Fall. But that's just me. And that is it for your weekly rankings. All right, everyone. Zach, do you want to introduce our main topic while I grab myself a drink?
Yes, of course. So our main topic is Dune Part 2 spoilers. So we are going to talk spoilers. If you have not watched it yet and you're watching right now on the live stream, be warned. If you are listening to us on the audio or listening to this back, I hope at this point you would have already seen Dune Part 2 if you're clicking on this. So we're not going to run down the entire film. We're not going to recap the whole thing. We're going to talk about our favorite moments that deal with spoilers. And obviously some of this from book fans is, it's from the book and some of it is not. But I'm excited to talk about this because doing the review non-spoilers was very difficult. Because you want to be nice to people who have not read the book, but also you want to not spoil anything for the theatrical experience, even like little things. Like the way, like basically all I could say is Austin Butler's entrance was grand, epic. Like I could talk a little bit about what was in the trailer.
That entire fucking sequence.
Yeah, but the entire scene is phenomenal. I didn't even talk about I always mispronounce her name, but Leia Seydoux. Leia, how do you say her name? Do you know? Leia Seydoux.
Leia
Seydoux. So I didn't even talk about her in my review because she's in that one scene basically, and that's it. But it's a phenomenal scene. And I loved seeing how that all went across. So I'm excited to talk about this, Ren. I don't know if you want to put up a spoiler banner just in case anyone jumps in.
We don't need to because we have it on the title, on the thumbnail. I don't think we need to. If everyone, awesome. Anyone who clicks on this will have already seen, like, okay, this is spoilers for Dune 2.
Yeah. So,
and all right. The first thing I want to talk about is that I'm going to put this film on a pedestal right now, but I'm going to put it on a very specific pedestal. And that is because for years, for decades at this point, I have said that one of my favorite movies of all time, and it's a movie that will please everyone. It's a movie that I don't know of anyone who dislikes it, is The Princess Bride. It's a great romance. It's a great adventure. It's got great action. It's great drama. It's got great comedy. Dune Part 2 has all those things, even more. It's an even better romance. It's an even bigger adventure. It's got even better action. It's a really funny movie. It's particularly distinctly funnier than Part 1. Not in moments that like take you out or they introduce quips or comedy, but just the natural reactions from characters and certain interactions throughout the film. They're really funny. And so I think this is a film. Look, I don't think Dune Part 2 will have people who didn't like Dune Part 1 completely turning around and going, oh shit, I actually like that one. Maybe. I'm just saying that that's the feel I got from watching it. That said, it's a movie that has everything for everyone. It's got romance, adventure, action, drama. It's got great elements of horror that I cannot wait for us to discuss, particularly with two characters in specific. One of them you've already brought up, but it's got everything. So this is the movie I'm going to put up there as the movie like, oh, I like a little bit of everything, Dune Part 2. Maybe you have to watch Dune Part 1, and maybe you won't like that, but Dune Part 2 has all those elements for you.
I agree. And speaking about something, I want to talk about Stilgar. Stilgar for me in here, like, I genuinely think Javier Bardem is so good. But the thing about amazing. Stilgar, and the thing a lot of people, what I've noticed my second time viewing the film is, the film really dives into the religion aspect of the Fremen, which was only very minimally touched on in the first one, which makes sense. You don't really spend all the time 100%. With the Fremen. You're an outsider in the first film, and in the second film, you're jumping in. And when Stilgar starts to notice that he might be the one, that, you know, that all the prophecies say, I love how it starts off comedically. You're enjoying and laughing. Yeah. There was always a laugh until the last few times. Like the when Timothée Chalamet's in that pit with all the leaders and he's telling them that basically like no one can stop me, no one can do this, and Stilgar just like starts bowing, and there's no laugh at that one. Like even though his reaction is just as comedic as the last few, that's the one when I remember the first time I saw it, I'm like, I don't know if I should cheer or if I should be scared too.
And it's a great point to bring up because by that time, when he's in that pit surrounded by all the leaders, at that moment, you already know he is the Messiah. So it's
Yeah.
not funny anymore because it fills the entire film with a sense of dread. Because the
Yeah.
entire film is a cautionary tale about messianic figures, organized religion, all that. And I definitely want to talk about that. But that's a great point that you bring up.
Yeah, and I love that because the shift in the room changes so drastically.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like you look back and it's like it's fun seeing the movie with people who hadn't seen it for the first time because you're watching it and like everyone's laughing at Stilgar and like I love when he's like he's humble. He is like
Yeah.
and then you just move on to that part. And like even speaking about a little bit more to that is most big event films like this, there's moments to cheer for, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You never want to cheer. Like you might like in instinctly you want to cheer. You want to shout out and clap and stuff like that because that's like your instinct. But there's a
Yeah.
part of you that's like, "Oh no. No, that's bad. That's bad what
Yeah.
he's doing." Even though it's good for him, it's bad for everyone. Like the scene where they're finally attacking everyone and then
Mm-hmm.
you just see the emperor and all them like sitting there in fear of hearing the door open. And when the door opens and you see them walk in and they're all drenched in blood. Which shout out for a
Yeah.
PG-13 movie, the makeup and all that stuff, awesome
Yeah.
for their costumes.
Mm-hmm.
But they get in there and it's like my first time I was like, I want to cheer. Oh no, this is not good Paul Atreides. This is bad Paul Atreides. So it's very well done.
Yeah, it is. And that's one of the things I love about Dune, because when you break everything down about Dune, it's got a chosen one sort of premise. And
Yep.
we've seen a million of these before. Maybe, for all I know, the original Dune orchestrated it. I don't think it did, but for all I know, the original Dune orchestrated it. But it's the sort of premise that feels the least challenging for a writer. That said, the way Dune utilizes this structure, it doesn't frame it as the creation of hope, but rather as the coming of impending doom. And it's like you were talking about, like there's a moment there where Stilgar is saying, "Oh, he's humble and he is." It's not funny anymore because you see the darkness. Because by the time he does embrace becoming the Messiah, the Lisan al Gaib. He's an Arcanan. His mother is the daughter of the Baron, which was a huge surprise for me. I've never read the
Oh,
books.
you didn't know that? Oh yeah, you haven't read the book. You haven't read the
I
books.
have never read the books because reading is for no. I'm kidding. It's just I didn't want to spoil myself. I want to watch the movie. I prefer movies to books, so the movie was coming out. I chose not to read the book.
I really like how they. I really like how they did it in the movie more than the book. I actually think that was actually a better pro. It's about the same from my memory, but I felt like in the book they honed in on it a little bit longer. But then, like once it gets down to the end, like they didn't really have that like final interaction of like, "Hello." What did he say? He's like, "Hello, grandfather."
He just said grandfather and fucking stabbed him in the neck.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah,
and that's where another example of how you see the change. Like the final battle, on principle, it goes against everything that you learn when it comes to writing an epic battle in movies, where you got the reversals and the turns and giving the advantage to one side to make it unpredictable. This battle just goes and Paul wins and the Fremen conquer. And that's fucking frightening. It's not exciting. It's not a fuck yes. It's, oh no, he's winning. And this is concerning. And the only fucking person in this entire movie, in this entire fucking franchise so far, that stays true to herself is Chani.
Yep.
And this is not something I think people think is a coincidence, but it's something that is there so obviously staring at us in the face that a lot of people don't notice it. I haven't talked about it because spoilers and the movie just came out, but I haven't seen anyone talk about this. I haven't had any discussions with anyone brought this up. Zach, do you want to remind us? The part 1 begins with a narration, correct?
Yep. From Chani.
Do you want to remind us from Chani? Who is in shot in the last frame of Dune Part 2?
Chani.
The one character who stays true to herself. The one character that is very much against this whole prophecy and messianic figures. And it's about her people. What does she say to Paul? This is why it's a great romance. What does she say to Paul when he's afraid he'll lose her, when he decides to go south? You will never lose me as long as you stay who you are. Yep. He didn't stay who he was.
No.
And you don't see her getting angry. You don't see her going to stab him. She's fucking hurt. She's seeing her people being taken away from her, being taken to war. And that's everything
and
she
for the wrong
hates.
Reason. That's not what she wanted.
For the wrong reasons. I mean, she very much reminds me of Itachi. Just a person who hates war and hates seeing her people suffer. Like, she doesn't walk out on Paul. She says, oh, no, but I'm fighting for my people. I don't like him. I don't like what's happening here, but he's still fighting for my people.
Which is wild. I will
fight with my people.
Because even in that final thing, she's still, like, you can tell she's still for him. Like, she's like, maybe he'll change back whatever we want.
Yeah, exactly. She's still grabbing onto, if I stay here, he could come back.
And then the second he's like, I'll take the princess's hand.
Oh, and my heart
you
fucking
can just see
sank.
Zendaya's face, her eyes.
Best performance ever, by the way.
Yeah,
her best performance. Holy shit! And she basically doesn't talk.
No, she does a Lily Gladstone, which I loved. Like, Lily Gladstone's eyes acted so much for Killers of the Flower Moon. It's one of the reasons I loved her performance. And Zendaya does this so much.
Blue eyes now, like, so they stand out all the more. But that scene, like, she's paralyzed with fear when Fade like stabs him in that fight scene, which we'll also get to, because that fight scene is something else, like out of this fucking world. Like, she's paralyzed, she's frozen, and she doesn't say a word. From the moment they're like planning the final battle, she doesn't speak. It's all visual effects, and the best visual effect is an actor's close-up on their face, emoting. You don't fucking need words. And Denis Villeneuve understands that. And Zendaya also.
And if we're talking about Chani, one more thing, I love the parallel. When you see her killing everyone, she does the flip, and then the camera pans in on her, just as it did in the Vision for Timothy Chalamet's character.
Yeah.
And
because we never see that moment in this movie, because it never happens.
And that's where I am very curious, because you don't know anything about Dune Messiah, right?
No.
I've only gotten halfway through. The books.
I know, and I know because Denis Villeneuve said it, but I know that he says, like, it brings to a close the arc of Paul Atreides. Like, that's all I know. In what way, shape, or form, no fucking clue.
I am so interested to see how he adapts that book. That book is very different, but it's also very he did change a lot in Chani's character. So Chani's storyline, I do not expect to be the exact same. Like, not even to like the closest. Chani's storyline in Messiah sucks. So this is so different. No. Like, legitimately, like, it is not a good storyline, in my opinion.
Okay.
Like, it is so
I would assume he's changing it. I would assume he's changing it only because and again, I haven't read the books. I bet you anything you want, Chani does not have this book opening and book closing on the first Dune. Like, she brings us into Arrakis for the first time. She's out of there right with us.
No.
And she's trying to ride the worm. She's trying to. I'm forgetting the name of the worm, but they also gave the big worm, the one that
grandfather.
Paul conquers.
I just know that's what they call
the grandfather. Grandfather worm. Not grandfather work at home. What the fuck? Dune name. Shai-Hulud. That's the name. Shai-Hulud. So she's trying to conquer that, and I bet the books don't have that. But I would also wager that he'll change it significantly, because one of the things he's been saying, like on the press tour, is Frank Herbert only wrote Dune Messiah because he saw the reaction to Dune and how people completely like did not notice that Dune is a cautionary tale for a messianic figure. They were all like, fuck yes, Paul Atreides, our hero. No, he's not a fucking hero. That's why he wrote the second book. Denis Villeneuve doesn't have that problem. I don't know of anyone who, and I'm very concerned if that's the case, I don't know of anyone who has seen Dune 2 and is like, fuck yes, Paul Atreides, that's a hero. That's like Superman. He's an example to follow. He's not. If you ever hear someone say that, become very concerned about them and how they view things, because that's not the takeaway from Dune 2.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Dune Messiah
I
gets
think
weird too. Dune Messiah gets
all
weird
right, but
too.
I
It's
mean,
weird.
Dune part, there's a baby fucking talking with
See,
an adult voice.
in the book, she's just like 5. She looks 5 all the time. Like that's how, like, it's not like a grown adult
Oh,
when he sees the vision.
so is she born already
No.
in Dune?
She's
The
not
book?
born.
Okay.
She's not born. No. In Messiah,
Okay.
she is, because Messiah takes place
Oh, okay.
12 years later. They're not doing a 12-year later
Oh,
jump though. There's no.
they're
fucking-
not, but it makes sense that Dune Messiah is not immediately his next one.
I don't know. I wish it was, man. I wish it was.
I wish it was too, but it makes sense because look, Rebecca Ferguson, Josh Brolin, Javier Bardem, like they're not gonna significantly age like to the moment where like, oh, they're fucking 30 years older now. No, they're gonna look, generally speaking, 5 years from now, 6, 7 years from now, the way they look now. Timothy Chalamet, Florence Pugh, Zendaya, Anya Taylor-Joy, for all I know, they're gonna maybe change a little bit because they're still in that time where they significantly change ever so slightly.
Yeah. Speaking about Anya, you got spoiled, right? That was the spoiler when you were out here.
I got spoiled that she was in the movie. So you told me on the weekend I was there, hey, big name in Dune 2. It's not out there. I'm going to ask Sharonda. You asked Sharonda. Sharonda confirmed this big name was in Dune 2. So then I go to California. Tessa has a Dune screening on the Tuesday. I couldn't go. I couldn't get a seat. She goes. And so I'm just saying, oh, by the way, there's the big name somewhere in the movie. Zach told me it was at the end. And yeah, a big person in the movie. So, and nobody knows about it. And so then she comes out like, yeah, big person in the movie. It's very brief. You won't get spoiled.
Yeah.
Like, it's cool and all, but yeah. And then 2 days later, the premiere in London over here while I was still there, and boom, Variety just puts out. So I knew Anya Taylor-Joy was in the movie. I had no idea who she was playing. However,
that's what I was spoiled on. I was spoiled on who she was playing.
As soon as he starts seeing visions of a woman walking and the people on the ground, like millions and millions of bodies dead because of me, blah, blah. And I thought, oh, this is whoever the character is, but that's Anya Taylor-Joy. And then it's Rebecca Ferguson. It's the Mother Superior. But then you have the vision of some person with a Fremen armor and all that in the ocean. I'm like, oh, this is Paul. And then she turns to the camera and, oh, shit, it's Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yeah.
Okay, the sister.
It's a great cameo. It's a great cameo. Whatever it means for the future, I don't know what they do.
Yeah.
But I love it. I love it so much.
I mean, she was definitely at one point and again, as someone who never read the books, she was definitely my fan cast for the princess at one point before Dune Part 2 came out.
Loki, I think she was gonna play the princess. I wonder.
Oh, okay.
Because I remember there was original rumors that she was in the movie before Florence Pugh had got cast, and everyone was like, "Oh, she's the princess." And I thought it fell out because of scheduling conflicts, and then nothing.
And maybe it did, and that's why she plays the sister instead, because she's literally in one scene, and she
Loki
over in
I think is better moments. Casting. I like that more. I like Florence Pugh so much as the princess.
Yeah.
I think she did such a great job. In a small role as well.
A small role that is very restrictive because, like, she doesn't have action. A lot of times she's either talking or looking at people, and she sells every single interaction, every single moment that she needs to sell. It's all there. Same with Christopher Walken.
Too. Yeah.
Christopher Walken is... And I didn't know that GIF that's been making rounds of, like, him dancing. That's from a music video from a song that is about Dune.
Oh, really?
The whole song is about walk without rhythm so the worms don't get you or something like that. Like, those are the literal lyrics. So he's literally dancing in a music video with a song about Dune, and years later, he's playing the fucking Emperor. I just think that's really funny to me. Any other moments like you wanna bring to the discussion?
Man, there's so many. I mean, just like speaking on Harkin, like when they actually go to Harkin, and just like all the build up to that and building up to Fayed being like introduced, like Dave Bautista.
Oh, to Getty Prime, to the arena.
Yeah, Getty Prime. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then how they introduce like Fayed and all this stuff, and the way Fayed's like just this psychopath. And I love how Austin Butler did his voice just like Stellan Skarsgård.
Yeah.
And it sounds so good. Like even when
I'm here, Atreides.
Yeah, when him and Timothy are about to fight, and he has this just crack, like it's so well done.
May your
I love that whole
chip and
moment.
shatter.
Yeah, the whole last fight scene is brutal.
That fight scene is fucking incredible. I love that there was, as much as I adore Hans Zimmer's music in the movie, no music, just the grunts, just the moves. It's all so raw
and you feel it all.
and intense. And there's quite a few shots where like, oh shit, Timothée Chalamet did that, where he goes over him and like spins like twice in the air, and like there's no cuts. You can tell it's him, and it's just really cool, the choreography they created.
Very well done.
I love the whole thing where he's clearly afraid of dying, to the point where he talks to Chani like, I'll always love you, like no matter what happens, blah blah.
How long I breathe, yeah. As long as I breathe.
Yeah, as long as I breathe. But then he's still like, but I'm still the Messiah, so I gotta win. But they're like, when he goes to the Emperor, like to kiss the ring, he doesn't even talk to him. He's just boom, stomping on the ground. It's everything about it. Like that final scene, the way Timothy commands, surrounded by everyone, face to face with his incredible screen legends, and he commands it all. My favorite shot in the film, apart from maybe when Fade Rautha comes in and he bows to the Emperor, or maybe that fight scene where it's just the two of them and the sun coming in through the background. My favorite shot is when he has just become the Lisan Al Gaib, and there's this slow-mo shot where like the heat waves like blurring the image, and like the worm coming out from the ground from behind. That shot is everything to me in this film. That shot is fucking incredible.
Greg Fraser, man. I mean, literally, if the other, speaking of shots, I love when he's walking through everyone.
Oh my god, from up top. It reminded me of the Batman when he guides everyone with a light at the end.
It's a great shot. But one thing we haven't talked about is the nukes, the atomic warheads. And when that got introduced, when Josh Brolin gets reintroduced, and I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, Gurney, man. Yeah. And I love how that works. And he's like, I knew it was your footsteps, old man. And I just get goosebumps in that scene, like seeing them reunite. But then you notice, like, Josh Brolin coming back into his life is like the worst thing that could happen to Chani too. And Chani knows that. Chani's like looks and everything like that. Like the whole way it builds up into that, and how he, like, Josh Brolin's like, I'm in, like, whatever, this is my emperor, like, and that's another religious aspect to look at, is what 100%. They believe in.
Because the Fremen are all free people, and Gurney, he's always served in some house, and he's free. His fucking lord is alive. Yeah. He wants to serve his lord, so whatever his lord has to become, he'll be there to serve him, and he is. And I like, that's the one scene, and I'm not saying this is a bad thing at all, but that's the one scene where you can tell it was shot along with the first movie, because that's one of the visions he has in the first movie, and you can see his hair is different, because up front it's small, Timothy's. So after he finds Gurney and they walk to the tunnels to go to the Fremen's hiding place, and he's talking about, how many men do you got? 200? Do you know like where you could do 200 men? Scene, watch throughout that whole sequence, because that's the first vision he has of Chani in the first movie, when he first inhales spice, and he's walking and she's like looking back, and he's like, oh, is this girl, blah blah. That's the scene, and you'll see in his hair how it's arranged differently. That's the one scene that stood out to me.
Interesting. But yeah, dude. And then when he walks up that hill and they shoot the fucking explosives.
Oh yeah.
And it just starts.
And the worms coming out of the sand. Oh my god. Again, it's one of those things, like it wasn't up to question. Like, as soon as they fired those missiles, they won. And it's not even close.
Yeah. The worms were just extra. Genuinely.
Yeah, exactly. The worms were just Fuck around and find out, man. Fuck around and find out.
Yeah.
And I love the Fremen coming out of the sand, like what you brought about where it's Zendaya. She has the sequence that we saw in the Vision, the last movie. I don't have enough good things to talk about this film, and I understand that can get pretty boring. So I think I've said my piece. I also like that in the movie that it has so much to say about how organized religion, messianic figures, faith-based systems are so inherently flawed and dangerous. It's also a movie where at one point, you brought this up, Gurney says that he knows where the nuclear warheads are. And then Paul is like, oh yeah, all the great houses have a nuclear arsenal. We've got, it's the year 10,000, whatever. Sure, neither you or I or anyone watching this is going to be here. But we gotten to the point where every fucking rich family has a nuclear arsenal at their fucking disposal. I am very glad I'm not alive by whenever that time comes.
Yeah. Dude, good joke in there too is when he says there's enough to blow
up the whole planet. What the fuck?
He goes to figure of speech. Dude, I'm literally so mad that I can't go see this movie again. Like, I can, but I just... I don't want to go see it in an inferior way. It's not, inferior is a strong word, but like, I don't want to go see it in another way that's not IMAX. Like, if I'm going to watch that, I'll watch it at home like that. But
the way I would do it, look, you can still go watch IMAX. You just need to, if I couldn't ever watch it again in IMAX, I would just, okay, then I won't watch it. But wait the 2 weeks. And in the meantime, go as many times as you want to, as you can to the regular formats, I would say. Or even Dolby, if you can find a Dolby or a
I was thinking about looking at Dolbys. There's a couple.
Yeah, go for it, man. Don't deprive yourself.
I know. I did the same thing with Across the Spider-Verse. I only saw it 3 times.
Oh, yeah.
I was so picky. And same with Oppenheimer. I was so picky with it. I fucking love this movie. I love this movie so much. It is genuinely like one of my favorite things I've ever watched. Just as 100%. Like we got Across the Spider-Verse last year, like I'm starting to think I'm like I do so far what's my favorite films of the decade. And it's tied with Spider-Verse right now. I don't know. And which one will be the better trilogy at the end of the decade? You know?
Yeah.
It's true. Is Dune or is it going to end up being Spider-Verse? I probably am starting to lean more towards Dune. Just because I don't know how you surpass Across the Spider-Verse, but then at the same time, how the fuck do you surpass this one? So
it's interesting that those are the two, because it just makes it also so much trickier, because Spider-Verse is incredible because it is animated, and all the boundary pushing and all the limits breaking that they do through animation. If Dune was animated, it wouldn't be as incredible because we've already seen what Spider-Verse can do. So all the things that we see in Dune, they are incredible. They're incredible because this is live action. Obviously, a lot of CGI that is invisible. I don't know where the CGI begins and the actual photography.
Dude, I'm like watching it. I'm like, all this is real. Like
the ship, the Emperor's ship, when it comes into the planet, they just have the shot of it breaking through the atmosphere with a fire and all. That was 100% a reference to 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah.
Denis Villeneuve has said time and time again that's like the movie that made him fall in love with movies. I understand that. I am not saying it is not that. It very much is. For me, however, watching that film, I'm like, oh, Frieza is landing on planet Namek. That's what I'm seeing right now. That's literally the shot that I'm
Denis,
watching.
Please do a Dragon Ball Z movie.
Please do a Dragon Ball Z movie. Holy shit. And bring Chad Stahelski and David Leitch as your stunt coordinators, as your stunt performers. But yeah, do it. That could be the secret project. Who knows?
Yeah. Dude, Griffin's like convinced it's Bond is a secret project.
I wouldn't mind that. I think it's Eternals too. I don't. I'm kidding. But that would be incredible. That would be a great fit. Yeah. But I don't think it's that. All right. So do you have any other things you want to talk about? Anyone else in the movie that you want to shout out that maybe we haven't?
We haven't really talked about Rebecca Ferguson. So just to give her a shout out, every single moment in this movie, she is terrifying. The more
her and Austin Butler bring the horror into the movie, and then eventually Timothée Chalamet, but her especially.
It's phenomenal what she's able to do in here. I love her as a performer. I think she's so underrated. But I loved her in this role, and I think I already loved her in the first movie, and she's even better in the second one. So
100%,
big fan,
100%,
big fan of that.
All right, everyone. With that out of the way, let's go into your live questions. Zach, do you have those at hand while I
already have them up, so yeah, I can
okay.
start.
Go for it. Start us off.
Lady Aaron starts us off. So with Dune Part 2 having some awesome battle scenes in it, what are some of your favorite battles in movies while also not including Dune Part 2 in your answer? I'll start with this. First off, to say this.
In movies in general?
Part 2, yeah, just in movies in general.
Okay.
So just to say this, I don't think Dune Part 2 has a lot of action. Like, they were really much saying, this is a big action-centric movie, and I'm happy it's not. So if you still have not seen Dune and you just watched to spoil the whole fucking movie, it is not all action. There's definitely a lot more than the first, but it is not all action. It is very deep.
There is a lot more action than the first, because the first one literally has one action sequence, if you want to call it that.
Yeah. It's more of just a match.
This one has more action. It's bigger. It's more grandiose. All that. I would describe it as an action movie. I would describe it as a sci-fi drama action. Action would only be third. So it has enough action to be an action movie, but I wouldn't name it an action movie first and foremost.
But speaking of what are some of my favorite battles, I do love the final battle in Zack Snyder's Justice League. I think that's excellent. I think Zack Snyder does a great job. If we want to stick with the Zack Snyder train, a Man of Steel, that final battle between Zod and Superman is phenomenal. I'm trying to think of some others. The Raid 2, the kitchen scene. Does that count? That's more of a fight scene, but I guess it's a battle.
I count it. I wouldn't put it like on my very top, only because the Raid is the opposite of Dune. There's so much action throughout that by the time you get to the final action scene, it doesn't feel like that big an escalation from where we were before. Yeah, like Dune, you go from zero action to action. Like, it breaks the mold. The Raid is always here. So even when you get to the final battle, it's a lesser difference.
So
not to say,
and I have another one, but I know you're going to say it, so I'll let you start saying your battles.
So Avengers Endgame, number one forever and ever. Like, it's not even close for me. Star Wars Return of the Jedi, the greatest space battle in history. Rogue One it pays homage to that space battle in Return of the Jedi. Infinity War is really good. I mean, it's not a final battle, because the battle is more in the middle of the movie, but Civil War has a great battle.
Two Towers.
Two Towers. You got to shout out Two Towers. The final battle in Harry Potter is great, like all fucking around the school. Yeah. People are not fucking around the school, but you know what I mean. Or maybe they are. Maybe I've seen the wrong Harry Potter.
Yeah, I think you did, man.
I gotta watch the correct one. What else? Let me see. Let me find through my reviews, because I'm blanking. Do you have any others?
Oh, Avatar. I'm a big fan of.
Avatar, nice.
1 and 2. So they're both very different. The first one obviously has a bigger epic scale of a battle, and the second one's a little bit more personal. I think I prefer the second one a little bit more, just because it's, for their children's sake and everything like that. So I would say that. Oh, I don't know if I include it as a battle, though, because I was going to say they cross the Spider-Verse when all the spiders are chasing him. It's not really a battle. It's more of a chase.
Yeah. I mean, but you can count the first one, Into the Spider-Verse, the final battle against Kingpin.
Yeah, that is a great one.
The final battle of the Creator is very good.
I have one.
Go for
it. The fight scene.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Tom Cruise versus Henry Cavill in Fallout. Tom Cruise versus Gabriel in Dead Reckoning. All from Ghost Protocol onwards, I think you can put any Mission Impossible movie in there. You got to put the endless runway at the airport in Fast 6, the best of the Fast and Furious movies.
I have one. I have another one.
Go for it.
I looked it up. The World's End, when the fucking drunk ass pals have to fight the.
Oh my god!
Yeah, that scene's good.
Yeah, good.
John Wick, dude. John Wick. All
of them. The final battle in 1, the final battle in 2, and the final battle in 3, the final battle in 4. If you want to call it a battle, I don't really think it's a battle as much as it is a duel, but it's excellent. What else? I know there are more. Why am I blanking? This is like a question made for me. And the final battle in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever is excellent. As much as I like the original Black Panther more, I think the final battle in Black Panther 2, the battle, not the fight between Shuri and Namor, but the battle itself between the armies, it's better in the second one for sure. We gotta talk, if you want to talk great battles, Saving Private Ryan, All Quiet on the Western Front, Hacksaw Ridge, like those quintessential war movies, they gotta be there. Gladiator is another one. T2 Judgment Day. I don't know how it took us so long to shout out that one. But yeah, I think I'm satisfied with just naming those.
Oh, wait, one last one. The Anchorman News Anchor Brawl.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Lady Aaron, I'm probably thinking you guys have been listening to the Dune Part 2 score on repeat ever since it came out. It didn't come out last week. It came out yesterday, or 2 days ago if you're from Portugal. What is your favorite track on the Dune Part 2 score? All of them. The ones at the end stand out more because those are the moments where the music just carries all the emotion of the film. So Only I Will Remain, Kiss the Ring, and Lisan Al Gaib. Those are like the top ones for me that stand out, but there's no skippable track. There's not a track that I go, no, I don't want to listen to this. So, Zach,
I haven't listened to it because I just know I'll get depressed because I can't go see the movie. So,
fair enough. All right, what's next?
Thoughts on Dune Part 2 receiving an A cinema score grade, which is also the first A grade in Denis' career. Awesome. Specifically how bleak the film is, I'm happy it did.
I don't have thoughts because I don't have a strong opinion on the cinema score either way. Cool, because that means people like it, but I don't have I don't have strong opinions on it. Either way, like I don't have strong opinions. This is amazing or this is awful. Lady Aaron, what are your thoughts on Damien Chazelle working on his next project? But after what happened to Babylon, he says he probably won't get a huge budget. And he says it may not get made at all. Will you support Damien Chazelle no matter what kind of script he makes for his films? I mean, if he makes a Nazi propaganda movie, maybe I won't support that. But taking those extremes out of the equation, of course I will support him because he's one of my favorite filmmakers. Because he has only delivered 5 out of 5 out of 5 out of 5 bangers. I don't like that he's in this place where I don't know that I will get a huge budget like Babylon, but I don't think he needs a huge budget of Babylon. I mean, obviously it depends on the script, but I think he's shown us that he can work with lower budgets. Like Whiplash didn't have a big budget. La La Land didn't have a big budget. And I think if he can make a movie with a story that he wants to tell around that number, I think he's good for it. And he keeps on working those until he earns back, I guess, the trust of studios to give him a Babylon-style budget. All right, Zach?
If David O. Russell can still be making $100 million movies, then there's no reason Damien Chazelle shouldn't.
Good shot. Good shot. All right, what's next?
Lady Aaron, so there was a Pokemon Present over the week. Yeah, it fucking sucked. Did I watch it? Yeah, I actually did. What are my thoughts?
You did?
Yeah, I watched it. I was like, you know what? I'm going to watch it. They're gonna announce something cool and I'm gonna be excited. No, that was the biggest waste of my fucking time. Also thoughts on the new upcoming Pokemon Legends game that's coming out next year. I never played the last one, so I can't say much.
I haven't played the last one. I haven't played the last one either. So I'm interested. It's not the thing that got me the most excited, even because the trailer is like as a trailer, it's all right. I'm excited that it is Kalos because I don't care how hot of a take this is, but Kalos is the gen that needed something like a Legends or a remake the most, bar none. So I'm very happy that Kalos is getting this remake. I like the whole approach to the Legends game. And it's not a Legends Arceus is the thing. Like, we knew Arceus. They didn't hide away the name. We knew all about Arceus. Arceus was always a mainstay in the original Gen 4 games. This ZA, what does ZA mean? Is it Zygarde? Is it Zygarde and something else? Is it a new Pokemon? I don't know. So I'm definitely interested. I'm definitely keeping my eye on it, but it's not the most exciting thing. All right. Lady Aaron, thoughts on the casting choices that we got for The Last of Us 2? Do you think these are some good choices, or will you change some of them up? Look, I know one of these actors. I know one of them. They're a very good actor. The other one I have seen in one thing. And the other two, I've never heard of them. I've never seen them. So I just like that we're rounding out the cast of essentials. Like, these are the characters that need to be a part on an adaptation of The Last of Us Part 2. So as far as the actors are concerned, I trust that they're great actors because I haven't seen bad acting in The Last of Us just yet. I trust Neil Druckmann. I trust Craig Mazin. So I'm all good with them, even though I don't have many thoughts because two of these actors I don't know. One of them I've seen once, and one of them is in Top Gun Maverick, and he's great in Top Gun Maverick. So, Zach?
He's also in Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Oh, yeah, that's true. He's supposedly the new Falcon.
Yeah. So, I love it. Anything The Last of Us gets announced, I'm gonna love. It just the fact that we're getting all of them makes me go, okay, so they are sticking to her whole friend group. Like, they're not taking any liberties or anything like that. I was a little worried that maybe they would cut one of, not Mel or Owen or Nora, but maybe Manny, because Manny's not. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's there, but he's not really there. But the fact that they casted an excellent actress for Nora, I can't fucking wait for that scene. I can't wait to see that Ellie and Nora scene. That's all I'll say.
All right. What's next?
In your opinion, what are some of the greatest movie sequels that you've ever watched? And yes, you can include Dune Part 2 if you like. Dune Part 2, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Empire Strikes Back,
John Wick Chapter 4, Return of the Jedi,
The Dark Knight,
The Last Jedi,
Infinity War, Endgame.
Mm-hmm. Spider-Man No Way Home, Spider-Man 2, X2, X-Men Days of Future Past, X-Men First Class is a prequel, but I guess
Doctor Sleep.
Oh, nice shout. Top Gun Maverick.
Avatar 2, Top Gun Maverick. 22 Jump Street.
Okay. Do we count Zack Snyder's Justice League as a sequel to something? Or is it just a spin-off? Do we count it? Okay.
Yeah, okay. I'd say it is. Spider-Man 2, Toby.
I've said that one.
Oh, okay. Shrek 2.
Moana 2. You'll see Moana 2. You'll see Moana's fucking awesome.
Thor Love and Thunder.
I don't know, I'm joking. I wouldn't even put it like best sequels of all time, and you all know how much I love Love and Thunder.
Well, it's better than any of the other Thor films, so it is one of the greatest.
Well, it's not better than the first one.
No,
it's not better than the first one.
It's better than the first one.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No.
Yes.
I know there's something else. There's something else that's obvious that is staring us right in the face. Blade Runner 2049. There it is. Now I'm satisfied. All right. Okay, here we go. Lady Aaron. I saw a review for Dune, and I was shocked that you got an A score. I thought it would get an A plus. Okay. When rewatching a film, does the grade for you change the times in which you personally give the movie better or worse to yourself? Only then of what viewers saw. So basically asking if the grade change. So I've said it many, many times before. For me, the grade is the least important part of the review. The most important part of the review is the conversation that we're having all through the video itself. Because if the grade was the most important part, all my videos would be shorts. Because I would just say, hey, saw this movie, here's the grade, bye-bye. That's not what's interesting to me. And to me, the grade is the marriage between the qualities that I recognize in the movie, the faults that I recognize in the movie, and my experience as a whole, how the film connects with me or doesn't connect with me. And that's how I give my grade. So I've said before that a lot of times I'll rewatch a film, it will go slightly down, slightly up. I have given up a long time ago. I don't know that I ever communicated this, so it's a fair question. But I've given up a long time ago. No matter how I feel about a movie, I will never go A+ on a first watch. I didn't do it with Top Gun Maverick. I didn't do it with Babylon. The last time I did it was with Soul, or I guess Dune. But I thought I gave Dune an A and then went up to an A+. Same thing happened with Dune Part 2. I went A because I'm perfectly confident in my A. This is at least an A movie. And then I rewatched it and I thought to myself, nah, it's an A+. So if you ever have that doubt, just go to my letterbox. If it's a 4.5 out of 5, it's an A. If it's a 5 out of 5, it's an A+. So that's why you should follow me on Letterboxd to understand all those nuances. And before we move on, Zach, we got a super chat from my good friend Eric Thorpe Reviews. Guys, you didn't mention Lord of the Rings for battles. Why? We did. We did mention Two Towers specifically because that's the best battle in the franchise. But like we said before, I don't have the biggest attachment to Lord of the Rings. As much as fantasy is my favorite genre, as much as I'm a fantasy nut, I will read anything, I will watch anything that is high fantasy. But for some reason, I just never connected to that raw emotional level with the Lord of the Rings. Like I've said this before, but while the Lord of the Rings is very much, it's much more my style of fantasy than Harry Potter is, I connect to the Harry Potter world and characters so much more. If I connect to the characters, to their journey more, that's the story I'm going to gravitate to. So the Lord of the Rings will never like be my number one fantasy franchise, only because I just don't connect to so many of the characters. I connect with Aragorn. Aragorn is awesome. I like the banter between Gimli and Legolas. Gandalf is cool. But apart from those four, I've always had a big problem with Lord of the Rings because their big bad guy does not fucking show up. It's the same issue that the Harry Potter movies have between 1, 2, and 3. And then he finally shows up at 4. But Lord of the Rings doesn't have that. Lord of the Rings has a bad guy that never fucking shows up. So I fucking hate Sauron. Just as much as I hate fucking Frodo. Frodo is one of the worst protagonists of all time. That's another conversation. But yes, we did mention Lord of the Rings. Don't worry. I think the final battle of Lord of the Rings is also pretty cool, even though we don't spend much time there. But Helm's Deep for sure is the best one out of them all. All right, Zach, what's next?
Thoughts on Hans Zimmer already beginning to make music for Dune 3? Cool.
I have a slightly more complicated answer. Maybe it's a more complicated answer than you want. But also, by the way, before I forget, thank you so much, Eric, for the super chat. Thank you for the support, man. We're going to leave this up either until the end of the show, or if another viewer wants to send us a super chat or a tip link, don't worry about it, but we'll leave this up until if a next one comes. So thoughts on Hans Zimmer already writing music for Dune 3? On one hand, fuck yes, that's exciting. He's already working on it. More great music for Hans Zimmer, and that's a good sign that meaning that the third one will be made. So yeah, at the same time, why? Just wait until you see the script. Just wait until you see footage. Just wait until you understand better. He has the script?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He already talked about that, yeah.
I still feel it might be a little bit too early. Like, just wait
until
on that, though. There's footage that... But... that's his process. I don't understand Hans Zimmer's process. I don't know everything he knows. For all I know, him and Denis had breakfast together, and Denis laid out, here's what it's going to happen. And Zaslav is going to give me $1 billion budget for this film. He's not. He shouldn't. He doesn't have that money. They're on the red right now.
If you can give Joker 200, then you can give Dune
And you should not give Joker 200. By the way, you're freezing all of these fucking movies for tax purposes. You're on the red stock wise right now, and you're giving Joker $200 million. Fuck you, David Zaslav. Anyway,
Release
what's
Coyote
next?
versus Acme.
Release Coyote versus Hackme. All right, Lady Aaron. What are some of the most unnecessary, pointless animated sequels that we've ever gotten, in your opinion? No movie has ever been necessary, so there isn't specifically an unnecessary movie and a necessary movie. Pointless sequels, Mulan 2 sticks to mind. Mulan 2 is horrible. Mulan 2 is awful. Zach, do you have anything else that comes to mind? I'm blanking on anything else, but I know there's more for sure.
I mean, there's a bunch of directed DVD ones that I just never seen, don't care to. So
yeah, the Megamind one is definitely up there for me. Sequels, pointless sequels. Dune
Cars
Part
2.
2 is a pointless.
There you go.
Oh yeah, Cars 3, another one. Any sequel to Taken is unnecessary.
Oh, I thought it was only
that was
we were talking about. Yeah, Taken.
Oh, only animated. Fair. Let me see. Animated. Toy Story 4 is an unnecessary pointless sequel.
It's not.
The Lego Movie 2. Cause I like the Lego Movie 2. Don't get me wrong, but it didn't do anything else that the first one didn't already do. Space Jam. It's better than the first one as a movie. I'm sorry, but I don't think it did anything interesting. The Alvin and the Chipmunks sequels are just as unnecessary and pointless as the original. Sing 2. I would say Ice Age past the third one, because the third one is the best.
Is that the dinosaur one?
That's the dinosaur one.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
I agree.
Surf's Up had a sequel, and it was WWE.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
How did I not know that?
2016. Wave Mania. It's WWE themed, so you have like WWE wrestlers as like penguins.
Why?
I don't know.
How did I not know this was a thing? I love the first Surf.
Because it was direct to DVD. Because it was direct to home release.
And it came out almost 10 years later.
Over 10 years later. No, when's the original from?
I just looked it up. 2007.
Okay. 2007. No way. No, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish was amazing. Addams Family 2 was. Rio 2
Shrek
exists.
4. Shrek 4 is.
Nah, fuck off. Shrek 4 is cool.
It's cool. No. I like it. Doesn't mean it's not.
Shrek like 3 is pointless.
Shrek 3 was ass.
Yes, it was. Stuart Little, Boss Baby 2 exists. It's better than the first one, but
yeah, it is better than the first one.
All right, what's next?
Thoughts on what we got for the first look on Tron Ares? Cool. I hope Greta Lee's in the suit.
Suit looks like a Power Ranger suit, and it's not. Unfortunately, it's not a Power Ranger suit, but it's fine.
Honestly, when Jared Leto posted that, I thought it was just what he was wearing for the day. So
it would be believable if it was, wouldn't it?
I don't know. I need to see a trailer, and then even then, I need to see an actual.
Yeah, that's true. What are your thoughts on the crazy Willy Wonka experience being talked about so much on social media? If you've heard about it, of course you've heard about it. Do you think we might get a movie adaptation out of this? It's insane. It's such a fucking funny story. I even tried to talk to some friends like, let's catch a train to fucking Glasgow and go to it. And then we'll end up seeing Glasgow because I've never been to Glasgow. I would love to see more of Scotland because Edinburgh is the most beautiful city I've ever visited. Sorry, California. Sorry, Arizona. Sorry, Amsterdam. I do want to go back to Amsterdam, but not for the city. Anyway, do we get a movie adaptation out of it? If you mean
we'll get a Netflix documentary.
We'll get it. That's what I was about to say, because I don't think we get a movie like Willy Wonka fights off against this evil entity called the Unknown and all. No, but I think we might, whether it's Netflix, whether it's Prime, whether it's HBO, whatever the fuck. we definitely will get a documentary about this. And I wish the best for all the actors involved. The actress who played the Unknown, the actress who was playing the Oompa Loompa, the comedian who was playing Willy Wonka. Nothing. I hope this ends up like skyrocketing their careers. And can you imagine? You finally get, as a struggling actor, you get this amazing opportunity. Then it turns out to be what it is. And now the whole world has got its eyes on it. I hope they have nothing but luck and get signed to agency, whatever. And then maybe one day it's my turn. Anyway, what's next, Zach?
The stage is set. We officially have our 5 Oscar performances ready to go, and Ryan will be one of them. Which performance are you most looking forward to? And which one are you least excited for? To be honest, I don't know. I don't even know who's performing besides Ryan. I don't care.
So, are we talking about performing songs?
I guess so, but I don't know. I don't pay attention to that. I just watch the Oscars.
Because I was like, we got our 5 Oscar performances, and I was thinking, yeah, because they've been nominated. We got all the 5 performances nominated. But it's talking about some. I mean, I have no idea who else is performing, but regardless of who else is performing, I'm Just Ken is number 1. Like, if that one is happening, that's the number 1 for sure. All right. Lady Aaron, thoughts on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem getting a sequel announcement? Do you hope that it will be a good sequel? No, I hope it fucking sucks, and I hope we never see the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in theaters again. Of course I hope it's a good sequel. I love the original. I wouldn't hope for a bad movie to come out.
I know someone who is working on the show.
Ooh,
and said it's really good. So I'm actually a little bit more excited for the show and then how it's going to lead in and all that stuff. So,
all right, that's
I just love this new iteration, man. I love this new iteration.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah, I agree. All right, what's next?
Thoughts on the official look of the Crow remake? Everyone is comparing Bill's look to Joker from the Suicide Squad. I could give one fuck about this Crow remake. Like, genuinely, like, I don't like the director. He made Ghost in the Shell, which was awesome. Very underrated live action movie. But other than that, like, he's just made garbage. This is coming off.
Snow White and the Huntsman is pretty good.
No.
Yes. No.
But the look is
but
fine.
He's only made those 2. Huh.
Yeah, the look is fine. I don't know. I don't care. I need a trailer. I don't need a fucking picture. I need a trailer. I need a trailer. I do not need. I don't care.
Like I said, I like both of the movies he's directed so far. One in particular being Ghost in the Shell. He apparently also directed an episode of Foundation, and apparently that's a very good show. I haven't seen it, but it sounds like my thing, so I'd love to watch it one day. He's literally directed 1 episode, by the way. So it's not like he's been working on the show. He did 1. I love the original Crow. I'm a big fan of the original Crow. Everyone making fun of the look because it looks a lot like the Joker in Suicide Squad. Yeah, it does. Like, it's trying very hard to be edgy and got tattoos, and I tattooed my face and my eyebrow, and some of the tattoos don't really look good at all. Like, why would you ever fucking tattoo that on yourself? I think there's something particular about the Crow that he should have long hair. Like, that's just me.
Yeah, that part was kind of like
he should have long hair. There's a lot about the character that speaks to the way he looks, and the way this character looks doesn't give heartbroken, romantic rock and roll star. This gives gang leader passing drugs to 12-year-olds. That's the look that this gives off. I am not too excited, only because this film has been in development hell for over a decade. At one point, it was going to star Mark fucking Wahlberg. That's how fucking far they got in this. Jason Momoa is involved. Tom Hiddleston, Jack Houston, Jake Gyllenhaal, Alexander Skarsgård, Luke Evans, like 2 or 3 other names that I'm blanking on, but it's been in development hell. So take Rupert Sanders out of the equation, whatever you think of him. Take Bill Skarsgård out of the equation, whatever you think about him. I think this film is just coming from a place where a lot of it could go wrong, regardless of who is attached right now. My first reaction seeing the picture was just, holy shit, it's actually fucking real. It actually fucking exists. They actually finally fucking shot the movie. So that's my only thing about it. I need to see more. Like, I'm not a fan of the look. I'm not a fan of the picture, but it's just a picture. However, I'm going to ultimately feel about this movie going in, it's going to only be determined by a trailer, not by a picture. So yeah, the picture doesn't get me too excited, but it also doesn't go, okay, this movie is going to suck. There's no hope. I'm not going to judge that off of a picture, of a single still. Or 3 pictures, because I think like 3 pictures came out. But I wouldn't say I'm too excited about it, or that I'm a fan. But yeah. All right. Did I read the last one? Did you read the last one?
I read the last one.
You read the last one. Okay. Andrew Seif, what are your thoughts on the viewership numbers for Avatar: The Last Airbender, and do you think it will get renewed for season 2? Viewership numbers were very good, and they're so good that they basically guarantee a season 2 renewal. And I can't wait. Big fan. I didn't quite love Avatar: The Last Airbender, but the integrity of that story is maintained. The characters, the themes, the mythos, how they brought this world to life. So I'm a big fan. Zach?
Yeah, I mean, good. And then there was a report earlier this week that they're basically almost done writing season 2 already. So that means we'll probably get into production later this year.
All right. What's next?
What are your thoughts on Sean Bailey no longer being the head of Disney Live Action and the head of Searchlight Pictures taking over? What would you like to see Sean Bailey do next?
It's a fair question, and there was a big shakeup in that sense at Disney. But I to give you an opinion on it would be disingenuous, because I just don't know enough about Sean Bailey. I haven't researched enough, like before this situation and since the situation. So I don't really have a strong opinion either way, because I wasn't too aware of Sean Bailey and his work. I'm not too aware of the person who has replaced him and his work. So I would just be making shit up if I gave you an opinion either way, whether I'm like, this is super exciting or this is not exciting at all. Like, this is trouble for the, like, I don't know. I don't have enough awareness of the pros and the cons of both of these gentlemen to like speak on it. Zach, do you have any thoughts on it?
No other changes because I have no idea.
All right, let's see. What is next? Andrew Steve, what are your thoughts on Superman's Legacy title being changed to just Superman and the casting of Wendell Pierce as Perry White? I like the casting of Wendell Pierce. He's very much one of those actors that I recognize more from face than I recognize by name, though from now on I'll probably recognize his name. He fits right in. He has that right energy. He's always a reliable actor whenever he shows up in TV shows or other movies. He's that support that the leads need to flesh out this entire world and establish this new version of Superman, the Daily Planet, Perry White. The title change from Superman Legacy to just Superman, I don't really care. Call it Superman oversized pantaloons, as long as the movie itself is great. I don't really care about the title. Zach?
Cool. Superman, easy. Better for SEO. Gonna make it way fucking easier for me to make a title. Wendell Pierce, cool. I like the actor, the good Perry White, and happy for that. That's about it. Let's get that suit. Right. Let's get that picture of that actual suit. Let's go.
Yeah, that's true. Full picture. All right, what's next?
What are your thoughts on Dune Part 2's box office performance from previews and the projections for the weekend? Do you think it guarantees Dune Messiah will get made? Is there any hope for it to make $1 billion? Do I think it guarantees Dune Messiah? Yes. Dune Messiah has already been greenlit behind the scenes. Let's just be honest right now. Like, as long as the movie just doesn't stop making money after this weekend, they'll be fine. But it's already about to surpass its actual budget, not including marketing, obviously, but it's about to surpass its budget of what, 150? Was its budget 150, somewhere around there?
Let me see. Dune Part 2. Dune Part 2. 190. The budget was
Okay.
190.
So by Wednesday, it'll make its budget back, and then it's just got to make
You think
marketing
so?
and yeah. I mean, it's projected to hit 180 this
Okay.
weekend worldwide. So then
Okay.
10 million alone, not that hard. So it's Dune Messiah is getting made. I'll be very shocked if it doesn't. Is there any hope for it to make $1 billion? Depends how it proceeds. You can't answer the $1 billion question until you see the next 3 weeks of the box office, because that all depends on how much money it makes. We also have to remember that Ghostbusters is coming out. We also have to remember Kung Fu Panda is coming out. We also have to remember Godzilla is coming out.
So I don't know that Kung Fu Panda does well, though. Sadly.
I am very interested in that because it's weird how many people have asked me about that fucking movie.
Really?
It's very, yeah, I haven't thought the marketing was great for it.
We only get it at the end of the month. So you get it on the 8th. We get it on the 28th.
Oh. When do you guys get Ghostbusters? Same day as us? And
when do you get it?
I think the 20 Ghosts. I don't think Ghostbusters does well, though. That's just my opinion.
I think it does well.
Oh, I don't. March 22nd.
I think we get it March 22nd as well for us, I believe.
Okay, and then do you guys get Godzilla the same day?
29th, right?
29th, yes.
Yeah, we do. So Ghostbusters is 22nd as well. Godzilla X Kong the New Empire. We get
no one's going to go see Kung Fu Panda next week because it's your birthday.
That's true. Everyone's coming to my birthday, 29th, yeah, for Godzilla vs. X Kong.
But yeah, I can't say the $1 billion thing later. But I think it's awesome. I'm happy it's making like double the money that the first one did. So Warner Brothers just showing how stupid they are, putting that movie on streaming only and theaters.
Is there any hope for $1 billion? 100%. Right now, it has a lot of hope. Like right now, it's looking good. But let's just see how good legs it.
I don't think it gets super deep into $1 billion though. I think it gets like it literally crosses $1 billion, and that's it. But we'll see. I don't know. I never thought Barbie would make $1 billion, and it did. So
that's true. Andrew Steve, in honor of March being Women's History Month, lies, it should be Ren's History Month. Like, no, I know I'm a straight white man taking something away from women again, but but it should be my month. You can have April. Have April. April's all yours. Who are some of your favorite female characters in film and television? Sarah Connor, Ahsoka, Leia,
The Bride.
Nice.
Ellen Ripley.
Chani. Right now I'm on a Chani high. I fucking love Chani. Daenerys Targaryen. Rey is up there.
Leia.
Sylvie is up there.
Sarah Connor.
Peggy Carter. From the MCU. I love Black Widow.
Yeah.
Did I say Sarah Connor? I think Sarah Connor was my favorite.
I just said, yeah.
Okay. Amy Pond from Doctor Who. That's the fucking best companion ever. Played by Karen Gillan. Nebula, another Karen Gillan character. Gamora is another one. Eve from All About Eve. If you've never seen All About Eve. Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz has to be there.
Mulan. 11 from Stranger Things.
All right. Nala.
Angela Bassett from fucking Wakanda Forever. The way she spoke her voice, man, she just...
Rebecca Ferguson in Isla Faust in the Mission Impossible movies.
Yeah.
She's fucking awesome. Those are a few. I think we've covered enough. All right, what's next?
Thoughts on Denis Villeneuve's quote about him saying he hates dialogue, saying it's more for theater and television than that. I don't remember movies because of a good line, because he's getting some criticism for that. I get he's trying to say he's more of a visual director and prefers the character's actions to move the story, but I think he could have worded it better. It didn't come off as dismissive towards TV. Again, did anyone actually read the full interview though?
Mm-hmm.
It's that one fucking snippet everyone always grabs. And I get what he's saying fully. I'll tell you right now, most films, there are obviously memorable lines, and dialogue is very important, but visuals are so important as well. And a lot of filmmakers forget to show instead of tell, and that's a big thing. So I get what he's saying. I just think people always have to be in uproar about everything.
Mhm.
So
Before I give my answer, by the way, I remember 3 more female characters. One of them we just talked about in a previous answer. I'm forgetting her name, but Ghost from Ghost in the Shell, Princess Mononoke, 4 characters actually. Princess Mononoke, Chihiro from Spirited Away, and Suzume from last year. So there's another character, and Kiki from Kiki's Delivery Service. All amazing female characters. As far as my thoughts on what Denis said, I know where he's coming from, and to a point, I agree.
yep.
I think he gets into nebulous territory when he's like, why do people remember movies? Like, I know why I remember a movie. My first tattoo was a quote from a movie that Christopher Nolan made. So you do remember, but I get what he's trying to say, because he's so visual. But a lot of his movies, some of the best moments in Dune, with all its grandiose visuals, with all its incredible shots and frames, and how well they communicate the story, some of its biggest moments are moments of dialogue. When Paul Atreides yells silence at the Mother Superior of the Bene Gesserit. When he's standing in the middle of the entire population of the planet of Arrakis, and he is cementing himself as their new leader, as their Messiah come to life. Great. Dialogue is great. It's just a matter of how you use it. I think what he's trying to get to is a lot of people overuse or just misuse completely dialogue, and it should be saved. That's why people say that TV is the medium of writers, movies are the mediums of directors. Directors have much more power in movies. Writers are the ones that are always there. The showrunners are always there for TV shows, so they know how these characters will talk. And you can't get, in a lot of TV shows at least, you can't get too fancy, so you rely on dialogue and on interactions to communicate through your characters. You communicate through dialogue. Movies don't necessarily need as much. So maybe movies will depend more on visuals and on the scope of it also. That's my take on it. Here we go. GKP. If Dune 2 came out last year, what categories would it get in, and who would have gotten taken out of these categories? I think Dune 2 would be pretty much in the same exact spot Oppenheimer is in, if not have a few more. Unfortunately, I'm not saying I would do this. I'm not saying they should have done this. I'm not saying I agree with this. But if Dune 2 had come out last year, I think the movie that would get swept out is Barbie. Again, I don't agree with it. I don't think that's right. But I think that's the one they would have pushed out. Zach?
I agree, only because they're both Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers have marketed Dune.
Another reason. I didn't even think
if you
of that.
don't include that, though, I think Barbie does stick, but I think Anatomy of Fall sticks out.
I would love to see that.
So.
Only because it doesn't deserve to be up there.
But I mean, genuinely though, when it comes down to the next year's, if Dune's not like in every category, and that includes acting, like it needs to be nominated for Timothy. I would say Timothy. I would say Rebecca Ferguson. I would say Zendaya. Would you say Javier Bardem? Like, part of me wants Javier Bardem like nominated too. Like, take two.
I would put Austin Butler ahead.
Austin Butler.
Javier Bardem.
So. Yeah, but easily.
All right,
every category.
It's
even animated. Don't ask me how that works, but it just should be nominated for animated feature film too.
There's a lot of visual effects in it. You just can't see them, which is the point. All right, what's next?
Dune 3 and Avatar 3 were to come out in the same year. Which do you think would win for visual effects? Depends what James Cameron does with Avatar 3. we kind of have an expectation of what to assume from Dune, but does
Mhm.
James Cameron once again revolutionize visual effects? I mean, and I mean that's a big thing. So, but visual effects
I
are more than just CGI. So
yeah. I think Avatar might take it because with Avatar, that's the whole thing, right? That's
yeah,
not just that, oh, we have visual effects. No, let's face it, as much as I may prefer the visual effects in Dune and how fucking invisible they are, the biggest advancement in visual effects is made by James Cameron. So I would maybe not agree, but I couldn't argue against that. If whenever an Avatar movie comes out, if that's the biggest leap forward in technology and what can be achieved with visual effects, I can prefer the Dune 2 in every conceivable way. But how can you argue against that? How can you argue against giving the award to that? To how much that pushed visual effects forwards? You can't, unfortunately, because again, I would just give it to
yeah.
Dune. All right, final question. I watched the video from
No,
one of the OG.
I like the one after G. Colby.
Okay,
Sorry.
you can do that one.
Okay.
That will be the last one because that one's for you. So good that you answer it. I watched the video from one of the OG YouTube film reviewers talking about Stuckman since the whole Madam Web controversy and his experience on him. Pretty simple, it wasn't very positive, and Chris seemed to be a bit of an ego and was being a douche to him and apparently other people. Have you ever had a don't meet your heroes moment? I haven't. Like I don't. You were awesome. Griffin was awesome. Sean was awesome. Cody was awesome. Like Tessa was awesome. Paulson Young Lee was awesome. Everyone in the cast of Avatar: The Last Airbender that I got to meet, the Justin Chien, and I'm forgetting the other actor's name, so forgive me. But when I briefly met them in the Avatar premiere from The Brother's Son, which unfortunately was just canceled, I didn't get a terrible experience. So never happened to me as far as I can remember. Though I did interview someone one time, you know this person, the video's on my YouTube channel. And this person, this was like a 10 in the morning at a con. This person had stayed out drinking until like 5 a.m. the night before. So this person was massively low energy, hungover, and he wasn't rude or anything. Like, in fact, he was there. He was doing his work. He was owning up to his agreement with his PRs, with the company, whatever, to promote his show. So he wasn't rude to me or anything. He was just very low energy, but he wasn't rude or anything. So it wasn't like, I regret meeting this person. Nothing like that. Zach?
I
know you have one. I don't know if you want to share that one.
I don't
okay.
say it.
Because you've told me. I just wasn't sure if you wanted to share it here.
No, I don't like sharing that one because then, like, I shared it one time and people got like, oh, I'm like, no, like, I talked to multiple other fucking people and every other person agreed with me every other time. So I won't get into that now because I have a couple actually, but I don't want to get into that. There's too much toxicity in this world, man. I don't want to.
Yeah, fair. I respect that. All right, last question for you, Zachariah. What is it?
Since you're a big Foo Fighter fan like me, if they ever made a Foo Fighters biopic, to keep it simple, who would you cast as Dave Grohl and Taylor Hawkins? I don't know about Dave, but I think Cole Sprouse would be a good Taylor. I do not want Cole Sprouse as Taylor. That's just my personal opinion.
Cast both of them.
No, never. Honestly, like thinking about this, I would do Aaron Taylor Johnson as Dave Grohl. I'd like to see him in a badass.
I'm fucking right here, man. I'm fucking right.
I mean,
here.
you could too, man. I mean, you could too. It's just tough because
the beard.
How do you do the decades? Do you start with Nirvana and then go through that whole entire thing? You know, yeah, you got a super chat, so I guess we have one more thing.
Yeah.
But it's very tough because I actually wouldn't want a movie. I'd rather have a show. I'd rather have a show where each season is a progression of Dave Grohl's career, and you get a different actor throughout those generations, depending on how long it takes to make them. Because there's certain actors that I think would fit better as a younger version, and then there's certain actors that I think would fit better as older versions of them. So it's tough because they have been asked before. And when Taylor was alive and Dave, they got both asked, and Dave said he would want Keanu Reeves to play him. in any sort of movie, even if he's just as old. And then Taylor Hawkins said Brad Pitt. I'm like, Keanu Reeves and Brad Pitt in a fucking rock and roll movie would be so awesome. But like it doesn't make sense, you know what I mean? Because they're basically the same age as them. So great stuff. But we also
all right.
Super chat,
final question. We have a very generous super chat from our friend Tony Movie Chappie. Thank you so much for your support. And just a final question. Are you guys okay if James Gunn does a modern Donner Superman, especially with some of the cast choices and possibly use of John Williams' score, because we saw what happened last time with Superman Returns? Am I okay with it? Yes. Do I think that's the least interesting possibility of what you can do with the new Superman? Absolutely. And I don't think he's going to do a modern Donner Superman, because have you seen the characters cast in the movie? It's filled. Mr. Terrific, Guy Gardner, Hawkgirl, Lex Luthor. And I know Lex Luthor was in the original, but that's the lamest fucking Lex Luthor we've ever seen. I don't think what he's going to do is the Donner Superman. I think the use of the John Williams score was just for that video that Rachel Brosnahan put up, because that, as much as I may prefer the Man of Steel as a whole to Donner Superman, as much as I may prefer the Hans Zimmer score, that is the most iconic, one of the most iconic scores, period, that we've ever had in cinema history. So, of course, you're going to use that, because that's for movie audiences. And remember, movie audiences are much bigger, much larger than comic book audiences. But the awareness of that theme immediately makes people think Superman. So for all the general audiences, all for the people scrolling on Instagram that are not like us, seeing movie news every single day, they will run into that post of Rachel Brosnahan and they're like, oh, this is the Superman's theme song. Who is this? Who is that person that shows up? Oh, that person is bald. Is that Lex Luthor? So I think it was just for promotion, because you're not going to reveal anything about their Superman just yet. So I would, answering your question, I went around on a tangent, but I hope that was elaborative and made you understand my side better. Ultimately, would I be okay if he does a modern Donner Superman? Yes, but it would by far be the least interesting approach to it, in my view. All right, Zach, what do you got?
I thought that was the last one. I closed it.
It is, but No. I just want you to answer this question.
Sorry. I'm like spacing out. I'm interested to see James Gunn does a modern. But I don't want him to. I want him to make his own version. I think he will have. Do we know who's doing the score? Isn't it the guy who did Guardians? John Bates?
I don't. Yeah, John Murphy. Yeah, you're right. I was about to say I don't think we know, but yeah, it's John Murphy.
Yeah, so I would be surprised if he doesn't take at like things from Williams, but I'd also like him to
100%
his own thing. Because this, for me, I think again that TikTok was just a fun video, like you said.
Yeah, like we started shooting. Like, that's it. We're all together, like, and it's all official. And David Gorswet. Yeah.
I mean, I have nothing really else for it. I just think this is gonna be awesome. Hopefully, at least. But it's got to be James Gunn's best movie.
Yeah, it does. Here's hoping. Superman and Fantastic Four around the same month. That's going to be exciting. All right, everyone. Tony Movie Chappie, thank you so much for your super chat. Thank you for your support. Eric Thorpe Reviews, same to you. Thank you both so much for the super chat. And thank you all for watching, for listening. We'll be back next week for episode 81 of This Week in Geek. Until the next one, stay safe, stay happy, and love each other. And love the movies. Bye-bye, everybody. See you later.